Hello, everybody. Thank you, Ren, for having me here at the ANN. Welcome, everybody. We are going to do a new moon transmission today. It's the new moon in Aries. So I will start the transmission, but at some point I'll stop when we get to that point of the actual new moon, so we can have like a moment of silence and maybe breathing and sitting with it for a moment. And then I'll ring the chimes and we can resume. So new moons are seeding moments of inception, where it corresponds to the dark goddess in the womb of the mother, if you will, that fertile soil where we plant seeds that will germinate and bloom. So it is a great moment to tune in to the archetypes at play and set intentions accordingly. So with Aries, this actually is the first new moon of the beginning of the astrological year that begins with Aries. So it is a moment of reset and a moment where there is a lot of energy to be setting intentions. Aries is the I am presence. It is the spark of spirit. It's what's required for anything to be created, for creation to even begin to exist. It is action. It is the energy that we have to create. It is how we take action in the world. Is that energy that sparks us to eat, to drink, to procreate. It is the baby, the toddler, that is completely instinctual, and just coming from that gut instinctual area where there are no words or thoughts or much mind. So with the energy of Aries, we need to also remember that whenever we take action in the world, we create karma. That moment we take action, there is an effect. And even non-action can bring karma. So that's the path with Aries. We are born and we embody that Aries archetype when we take that first breath. And since the moment you're born, we're acting in the world, we're creating, we're beginning, and we're creating that karma for ourselves. There is also anger that is related to the Aryan archetype. And it corresponds to aggression and desire, the desire that drive us to reach for things, to want food, to want to create. So for this moon in particular, since it is such a big moment of reset and beginning, if you can feel in the Northern Hemisphere, we're coming into spring and we're having that Aryan energy where everything is beginning to become alive. Something important to do during this season too is to do anything that does blood building, like herbs, like goji berry, nettle, hawthorn tea, because it is kind of like a moment of revival and revitalization for our bodies, especially here in the Northern Hemisphere, of course. So intentions around how we take action in the world and trying to align our actions, our human actions, with divine action would be the higher octave or the highest expression of Aries, becoming the protectors and the warriors in the world, but for the higher purpose, not just acting from ego centeredness and fighting to fight and to just take out that aggression that we may all carry from all the BPM material that we all carry and the experiences that we have in life. The interesting part of this moon is that Mars, which rules Aries, and I'm going to actually share my screen right now so you can have the chart and be looking at it. Here it is. So I casted the chart with a 0 Aries point, so we can just have not have to worry about the houses and where everything is. So what's interesting about this moon aside from having a lot of planets in Aries and really feeling that Aryan energy, we have Mars, which is a ruler of Aries, squaring Neptune. Now, with that, Neptune really lubricates and, in a way, softens that very Aryan impulse energy, that vitality. In the highest expression, this can really help us with this lunation to set intentions to align with divine action, with how we take action in the world, and we are assertive, and we set boundaries, because that's another expression of Aries, and the correct expression of anger is setting boundaries. But how we bring that with compassion and kindness, that is what the Neptune and Pisces that's squaring Mars can provide, and really infuse us with that. When it comes to not being the highest expression of that combination, the Neptune can really sort of diffuse the action of Aries, and we can become sort of confused and not really knowing in which direction to go. So wherever we are experiencing in this new moon, whether it's more of the lower spectrum of that or the highest expression, we can kind of like, if we're especially experiencing the more like lack of direction, confusion, feeling kind of diffused in our ability to assert ourselves when it's necessary to do so, to express our boundaries, to be purposeful and directed in the world towards that which desire and to accomplish, then we can kind of go back to that Mars and align with that energy that is at the gut area, and pray to align it with divine spirit and ask for purpose in that way. We have that the moon and the sun are squaring Pluto, and also Venus is squaring Pluto. Venus is actually in a pretty much exact square to Pluto. So let's start with the sun and the moon, since these are the main characters, since we are talking about the new moon right now. So with sun and moon Pluto, we have the potential here for a lot of catharsis and transformation. The sun gives a lot of energy to the plutonic transformation that needs to occur, and Pluto infuses that sun with that sort of primal and volcanic, titanic, and it can also be a little dark in the way that it produces that catharsis. And when it comes to the moon, it can really bring our emotions into huge transformation. The moon Pluto here, what I'm sensing when I see that is how Pluto can help transform that sort of impulsive. It can go both ways. That very impulsive moon in Aries that can see intentions to become kind of impulsive and aggressive and maybe a little irresponsible in the world. With the Pluto, if we tune into that energy, we can transform that and again align it with direct and divine action. It can also add to aggression and kind of like taking action in the world and acting out aggression onto others with that combination. So it's important to be really mindful of the sort of intentions that we are seeing for this new moon, because we have the potential with that Pluto. They're giving it so much primal and energy for catharsis and to actually go into the dark of BPM 3, that we gotta be careful how we sit with this energies. Now with the Venus, we also have a Venus that is right there conjunct the sun and conjunct the moon, also squaring Pluto. So for the new moon, Venus being right there, still kind of in the underworld, she hasn't re-emerged and become a visible star yet. So in a way, when Venus is, and this comes from a more Hellenistic tradition with the synodic cycles, or shamanic astrology with the synodic cycles of Venus. When Venus is in the underworld, this is the cycle, the part of the cycle that she's at right now. She's the farthest away from Earth, and she's not seen by us right now. So in my experience, when and I connect very deeply to the Venus synodic cycles, when she is in that part of the cycle, there seems to be like a longing, like a yearning for that makes my heart sing. It's like she's kind of farther away from us, and it's harder to kind of get in touch with the goddess of beauty, the goddess of connection, that the principles that help us love and be attracted to things in the world and attract. But it is there with the sun, kind of being purified by the sun at the moment, but also infusing this new moon with a sort of goddess warrior energy. So, and squaring Pluto right now, we have the possibility here for transformation and catharsis when it comes to our emotional, our relationships, how we relate with ourselves, with others. So setting intentions around a reset and a deep transformation with our emotional inner landscape, and also that Venusian capacity archetype that we all hold, which is the goddess of beauty, the goddess that it is what gives us. I always kind of like to think about when I'm in love with someone or I love something, that is not really that person or me that is loving. It's that the goddess, is Venus, Aphrodite, that's really taken hold, and that it is to her that we offer this connection, this sort of blissful attraction that we start feeling. Together there with the sun and the moon, we can combine the Aphrodite archetype of attraction, connection, with the lunar, the more mother, emotional, nurturing aspect. So I got my timer, so I'm going to interrupt my transmission for a moment, so we can all kind of, as it is happening right now, the conjunction, the moon and the sun are united in sacred marriage. So let's just kind of sit with it, close our eyes, and kind of take a deep breath, and allow all these things that I've been saying to kind of like sit with us, sit in our hearts, and breathe with that, and tune into our intentions, what we want to put in there, in that womb of the moon, so it can bloom in our lives. So as you feel into this womb of possibility, this beginning of a cycle, which is a new moon, we also take the opportunity to say farewell to what ended. Whenever we have a new moon, we have a period of time when the moon is, we lose sight of it for like 3 days. It's dark for 3 days. So there is both in it. There is death of an old cycle and rebirth. It's hard to pinpoint at exactly what time. There is a moment in time when one transitions to the next. Like we just did. We just kind of tune into that moment. But it is that principle of death and rebirth that in our societies we're really not in touch with. We tend to really fear the dark goddess, the dark moon, the dark, whatever we cannot see and be in the presence of the bright sun. And it is important that we connect to that and we honor that because they correspond to cycles that are very natural in the world and that used to be really revered and honored in matriarchal times. It corresponds to the crone and the wise old woman, old age, dying, but also the rebirth that begins with that. And so be courageous. This new moon has that Aryan courage to take action in the world, to follow and go with our purpose and to have direction. The other aspect that I think I'll mention before we go is that we're still under the Saturn-Uranus square that we're going to be for the entire year, which is kind of still having us in that birth of the new, letting go of the old, birth of the new. And so it's kind of like the new moon. We're kind of in that process for the entire year with this square, where Uranus is kind of wanting to restrict and contract. And Saturn and Uranus is trying to liberate, to upgrade, to kind of break free from the structure, from the shell, breaking free like when we crown and we finally are birthed. So this really, I feel that this transit that we're going to be this entire year, it's a very new moon quality where we're kind of like in that birthing process, letting go of something, coming into something new, and that struggle that ensues with that. And Uranus and Taurus is very slow to change. So this is going to be a kind of like push-pull for all of us for as long as those two are engaged. But birth is an arduous task, and it brings something new. So hopefully, if we work with these energies in a good way, we'll be birthing something that will benefit us more and hopefully serve us more, because we all need it. I think that that is my transmission for tonight. And I will leave you with that. I will definitely suggest that you continue to tune in and claim those areas where you need to become more assertive, where anger is appropriate, and it may be praying to this new moon on what is the appropriate use of anger. I think that's a good Aries lesson that's been very misused in the world. It's also the reclaiming of the healthy masculine. Even though it's the moon and we have Venus, so we have a lot of feminine energies in this masculine archetype, which it's kind of helping to bring the feminine in it and bring the balancing of the feminine in the way that is expressed in the world. And this coming more from an evolutionary astrology perspective. We work with Chiron a lot, and Chiron is involved, is the green icon that looks kind of like a key. And Chiron in Aries, it's in a way showing where our evolution is needing to go. It's in the masculine where the healing is needing to happen right now. It's where the wounding has been, and it's being emphasized that we look at it right now, and it is where we need to rebalance and we need to heal that. And yeah, I think I'll leave you with that. Thank you so much, friend. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for this beautiful channel that you created, for giving me the opportunity to present here tonight. You can find me on Deep Journeys as www.deep-journeys.com. I'm an archetypal astrologer and evolutionary astrologer. I'd like to call myself more of a counseling astrologer because I gravitate more towards that, counseling clients. But that's how you find me. And thank you very much. Happy new moon, everybody. Blessings.